Today, the Hawk gets its first service, so stick around for a step-by-step oil change and discussion of other first service tasks. After 115 grueling, treacherous, danger-filled miles, it's finally time to perform the Hawk's first service. So first up is a full blood transfusion, followed by a heart valve test, and finally, its full physical. So let's get started. Alright guys, let's get this oil change started. My drain plug takes a 14mm. Yours might be different because I am using an aftermarket drain plug. Mine's magnetic. You can actually get it in a few different colors right off of Amazon. They're not very expensive. I like the added benefit of having a magnet in it. Picks up a little extra metal and whatnot. I just think it's a good idea to have. So anyway, you can see how dark my oil is, and that's just after 115 miles. So you can see here why it might be a good idea to change your oil a little early the first time. It's pretty dark looking for 100 miles worth of riding, 115 miles worth of riding. Also, you'll notice that on my magnetic drain plug here, I'm about to show you, right here, I'm just going to clean some of the oil off as I show you, but there's some of the metal shavings that picks up. Obviously some end up in the oil or probably going to be in the bottom of the bucket there, and we're going to take a look at that later. I'm going to run it through a strainer and we'll see what it leaves behind. Currently the bike's sitting on its side stand, so I'm just going to let as much of the oil run out as I can. And then I'm going to grab it and stand it up straight, and we'll get the rest of the oil out of there. Oil change interval is probably much more important than what type of oil you use, and I won't get into a discussion of brands or anything like that. I mean, you're going to see what I use, but I don't like to make recommendations because it's a pretty hot topic. So yeah, you can see quite a bit more oil comes out once you stand it up, so you definitely want to stand the bike up straight and get all of that oil out of there before you replace your drain plug and fill it back up. So once you got all your oil out of the bottom, we're going to move over to the left side of the engine. There is a big bolt here. I used a 15/16. I think it's actually a 24mm, but I didn't have one handy. So anyway, 15/16 works. And you're going to unscrew that. A little bit of oil will come out, but not much. There's a spring in behind there. Don't lose that. Don't drop it. And then behind that, as you're going to see in a moment, there is a screen. Now, there really wasn't much going on in mine. I did clean it out real quick, but you definitely want to clean that out periodically. You can rinse it out with some kerosene or blow it out with an air compressor or something. It's just another thing to catch particles floating around in the oil, so good to keep that clean. So we're just going to put it back in the way it came out. So the screen faces you, the little rubber goes in towards the engine. And then replace your spring and your cap. It can be a little tricky to get it. You kind of have to push in because of the spring, you know, and get the thread started. And then once you do, just snug it up. Don't over tighten it and strip the threads out. And of course, I like to clean up my mess. Not that the bike's overly clean anyways, as you can tell. So anyway, get back underneath here and put the drain plug back in. Inspect your crush washer. You may want to replace it. Mine was practically looked brand new, so I'm going to reuse it. But periodically those do need to be replaced to prevent oil from weeping out of the drain plug. Alright, let's get some oil back in this thing. I am actually using Rotella T4 conventional for the break-in process. It's a 1540 weight. It is not SC rated anymore like it used to be. It still has plenty of zinc in it, etc., etc. I'm not going to get into a discussion about it, but I feel it's perfectly safe to use, but I would recommend using whatever it is you're comfortable with. Just make sure it's JASO rated for wet clutches and within your proper viscosity range. So like I mentioned earlier, we're going to drain this through here and see what we can find in the oil. I didn't find too much. It was pretty clean, except two, you can see them here, that's one of them, two little shavings that were kind of bigger than I would have liked to have seen, but nothing too crazy. Alright, moving along, it's time to check our valve lash now. This video section here is actually from a valve clearance video that I did that shows the whole process, so I'll leave a link to that below. You don't have to remove all the gas tank and plastic. I did it without doing that after I changed my oil. And so you want to do this at your first service at 500 miles, and then you can go 2,500 miles in between after that. Okay, with those two major tasks out of the way, your oil change and your valve clearance, those are going to be your two kind of big players for your first service. But it's also a good idea to check your spokes for proper tension. They like to settle in and they can loosen up on you a little bit, and that's certainly not something you want to have trouble with. Also, lube your chain, lube your cables if you need to, if you haven't yet, and check for the proper play in your throttle and clutch cables. And just kind of give the bike a once-over, and then get out there and do some more riding. Alright, thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure and smash that like button, and why don't you hit subscribe and hit the little bell icon while you're down there. And that way you get notified for any new videos that I make. I definitely have some more in the work. I hope you got some good information out of this one, and we will catch you next time. Thanks a lot.